World Bare-Knuckle Fighting Federation presents Rise of the Titans live on pay-per-view, Friday, November 9th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. To order, contact your pay-per-view provider.
I'll beat your ass. Yeah. I'll beat your ass. I'll beat your ass. I'll beat him on God.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the WBKFF official broadcast of the World Bare-Knuckle Fighting Federation. Today, I am joined by Nick Gonzalez out of Austin, Texas. You're in Austin, no less.
Yes, sir. Austin, Texas.
Best barbecue, best music. I have nothing but good things to say about Austin, Texas. How can you focus on fighting being in such a great party city?
To be honest, well, number one, I'm sober, so that kind of eliminates the hard part of going out and drinking. But not really. I mean, I've been here, my whole life, so you kind of, you get to soak it all in, and after a while, it's just kind of like, okay, it's over here, this music's there, the green belt's there, the barbecue's there. You kind of know the place to go and what to do, because you don't really get stuck in the crowds, But, we just had UT football kickoff 2 weeks back. Tailgating's always fun. Along with tailgating, there's always, events going on. But then, Formula One just came a couple weeks ago. They had all kinds of big concerts for that. It's really, really hard to not get distracted, to be honest. It really is. It's the same thing, different name, I guess.
No, I completely get that. Nick, you've been with the fight game for quite a while now. For those of you who don't know, Nick started in 2001. He's competed in Strikeforce, EXE, Bellator. It's kind of an endless list. How do you still have a drive to want to even get involved with bare-knuckle fighting?
Well, to be honest, I think you're going to go back to just a personal goal of mine and get unfulfilled. Obviously, when I started years ago, all I ever wanted to do was fight in the UFC, and
right.
That obviously didn't pan out. I went everywhere else, but there. But anyway, long story short, from about 2012 to 16, man, I was really battling some personal issues. Just going back to sobriety, I almost coming up on 2 years. But so for about 5 years, man, 4 or 5 years, I was just having a hard time performing. I wasn't making weight. I wasn't really taking care of myself outside of the gym, and trying to go out and burn the candle at both ends. You don't really have that kind of success. I learned that the hard way. So I thought I got, things in order. I won my last fight. And just in the regional circuit, what I was kind of burnt out on, what I wasn't really a fan of, is how now they make fighters sell tickets for a very small percentage. Right. It is literally mandatory. So I'm like, man, that's just not, I didn't get into fighting for that, So I took a year off, and I was actually refereeing. And, I just got things in order, man. I just got the itch because I knew I was healthy. I knew I was sober. I knew I could focus. I just didn't feel fulfilled. I knew I had some left in me. Going down the road of the traditional circuit, try to get built up, win a few fights in a row, and trying to get into a big show like Bellator or UFC or something like that. UFC's out of the question. I'm 37. They're not going to sign me. I don't have a bad record, but they're not signing guys like me, So,
there's a lot. There's a lot with what you. Wait, I got to unpack everything you just said in that first section. First of all, being a friend of Bill's, from what I'm hearing, congratulations. That's fantastic. Are you still actively working on that? Did I lose?
It's over?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
I'm
good
at
for
701 days.
Congratulations. I'm 23 years or 25, like some ghastly amount of time. So kudos to you. It's hard not to in a sport that administers pain. Secondly, you talk about a great topic that nobody in any sport talks about, and that is the you got to go hawk tickets to come see me fight thing. It's kind of the format that many organizations that are good and bad, there's good and bad to it. Don't get me wrong. If you're an amateur, I get it. But when you're talking like King of the Cage, where they're making pretty good money out at the front door and they're forcing you to move 20 to 50 tickets so you can be on the card. And by the way, I'm not making that up for anybody listening, and probably just shit on all my chances of getting into a King of the Ring fight. But that's true. I mean, nobody talks about this stuff, and it's really true shit for a fighter to have to deal with.
Well, I mean, I guess I could talk about it because, like I said, I have no desire to go down the regional circuit to try to build up to get back into a big show. I have 2 wins. So let's say I rack up 3 more wins on a regional circuit. I got 5 wins in a row. I could probably go to the Bellator, maybe a professional fight league, something like that. But I got a full-time job. I'm an electrician. I got responsibilities outside of, when I was to work in my personal life. I got kids. I got a pit bull that I love a lot. Like my little dog, my friend. Last thing I want to do is sell tickets, and I don't even care how easy, quote unquote, they try to tell fighters it is, that they can just go to this website and link my name and this and that, and it's just, this is what it's become, and this is not what I signed up for years ago when you mentioned I started. I wanted to fight because I wanted to, eventually get into the big show. I wanted to be a professional fighter. I didn't want to sell tickets and train and fight. That's not my thing. I can say that now because, I don't have no desire. I actually hung the gloves up to become a referee because that's what it was. A funny story, I reached out to a show. I'm not going to say their name because they might hear me. No, I reached out to I reached out to LFA, which is Legacy Fighting Alliance,
right?
Because in 2013, Leonard Garcia and I got a Fight of the Year nomination. I was about 6 pounds overweight. I was, still boozing and drugging 10 days out, and I came, to terms with that after I lost. That I was obviously not healthy, not focused. Had I been, healthy and focused, I could beat this guy. Leonard Garcia is a legend. I know I could beat him. So things are in order. I'm focused. I'm sober now. I reached out to actually him first if he'd be interested in doing a rematch because of the Fight of the Year nomination. And at that time, Legacy had transitioned to LFA, so there was kind of some different, hierarchy. So I reached out to one of the older ones, and they pitched it to LFA, and they sounded, interested in the event, or into the fight to put in one of their events in San Antonio. And one of the first things I get, in touch with the matchmaker is right away, how many tickets can you sell? And that's kind of just, that's what it was right there. That's just like, you know what, man, this isn't for me anymore. And I love MMA to death. It's my passion. It always has been, but that's what
our business has become. I mean, that's ultimately,
exactly, yeah.
I mean, even people ask me, okay, we want to give you somebody to talk to. How many downloads do you get? How many people are actually listening to this? Is that really going to affect who I'm going to interview? I mean, and I see it. I see it in boxing. I see it in MMA. I see it in almost every sport. To even get press credentials nowadays, they ask you, how many people are you listening to? If it's 5, it's probably about your sport, asshole. I mean, it's
right.
Any news
is
what
good
news.
It's the thing. I mean, I see it. Regional circuits, regional shows, in the regional. I've seen, guys and girls. Actually, girls is probably more because cute and they could sell, a lot more tickets. A girl will have 25,000 followers, 30,000 followers, and fight like shit, but they'll still put her on cards.
Right.
I've seen guys get favored, build up win streaks, fighting guys that they can beat, like a 60-40 or a 70-30 fight. Like, you're gonna beat this guy, 70% chance, 30% he has a chance. You know what I mean? That's what it's become, and that's not what I started fighting for. So after I beat my last opponent, I had a 2-fight win streak. I reached out to Leonard about doing a rematch. He was totally down for it, but then I get that ticket thing, and I was like, hey, I'm messaging him back. I was reaching through social media, and I was like, hey, bro, I'm not down with this, man. Like, I would love to fight you again now that I'm, I know I'm healthy. But I'm just going to go ahead and rest him up and just go pursue this referee thing. And he was totally cool. He understood. I appreciated Leonard for willing to step up because he had, by this time, already been, I think, about a year out after his last fight, But the excitement of a Fight of the Year nomination and the 2013, you can go look it up on the Access TV Awards. I mean, the list of other fights that are on there, to be up there with those guys, it's a big thing, And then that's, again, me, like, man, I was a fucking wreck. And I was drinking. I was not taking care of myself. And I still gave that kind of fight. What would have happened if I was sober and focused? That's always been kind of plagued in the back of my mind. So that's why, with my last fight, and I win, and I want to go out and do some more stuff. And then this ticket sale shit kind of just put a bad taste in my mouth, so I became a referee. And then the bare knuckle thing came up, and I was like, okay, this is something new, something different, something fresh. I don't have to sell tickets, obviously. Let's go.
Yeah, let's talk about this bare knuckle thing without me being a shameless shill for the company that's letting me create their content. How do you actually process the idea of no tape, strap it up, standing in front of a guy, and just throwing hands? I mean, that's crazy.
Well, a couple things there. Most fighters are not normal people. I guess they wouldn't classify us as crazy like me being in an insane asylum. But I mean, I think anybody that's wanting to try to make a living out of beating somebody up doesn't really think like a normal person, right? And then the fact that it's bare knuckle, there's not a lot of people that know, but in the streets, I'm undefeated. No, I'm just kidding. No, growing up, man, I mean, I've been. I mean, this is obviously a different scenario. You're fighting a professional, an athlete fighter, bare knuckle. It's different than, growing up, I ran around the wrong crowd, got involved in some gangs and stuff, was in plenty of fights, got jumped a few times. So I'm not saying that you can compare the two, but having that experience of being in the fights, being jumped, and know what it feels like, it's obviously not going to be the same as getting hit by a professional, but fighting doesn't scare me. The bare knuckle thing doesn't scare me. I think this is new, it's exciting, it's fresh. To me, it's kind of separating the men from the boys. There's not a lot of people signing. This is again going back to the what I see in the regional circuits of MMA where they're building guys up because they can sell a lot of tickets. I'm like, well, I don't think those guys are going to sign up to go fight anybody bare knuckle because this isn't a sure thing. It's not a sure thing because they don't even know they're fighting. None of us do. We're fighting out a couple of days before. Where I know guys personally in the regional circuits that have literally picked opponents, because they can sell $5,000 a ticket, whatever, Like, that's not what fighting is about to me or what I got into it for. I think this new bare knuckle thing it's just stepping up the game. It's really just going to separate, I think the men from the boys. I mean, this is a new challenge. It's a new journey for me. That's what I look at it as.
Yeah, it should be. And for those of you wondering, Nick is competing along with a bunch of other guys in a $100,000 tournament to determine their lightweight champion. I mean, that's a pretty healthy prize for a startup company. What I'm most impressed, without sounding like an ass kisser to my organization, they're putting real money on this. They're not jacking around with this.
Yeah.
And you and I over the years
you
have
can look
seen...
at the main card, right?
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, you and I have been around long enough to remember startup companies don't offer real money. I mean, nobody offered this kind of money in their first year. No, not at all. And then that goes back to I always felt like I said unfulfilled because my first goal in MMA when I started years ago, I used to do a 4-man tank race tournaments here in Texas because that's all we had. I wanted to be in the UFC. Okay, let's say for some crazy reason the UFC ended up signing me, right, at 37 years old, 20-12. Not a bad record, but not this 5-0, 6-0 undefeated young guys they're signing. But let's say they sign me that. They're not going to be forking over $100,000 for a new signing, No.
At all. Now, of course, I work to get that money. It's not going to be given, but the fact that they're putting up that opportunity in 3 fights, I can make that. UFC, you can't do that. I mean, unless you got a legit manager and like a real. I mean, I don't think you can't, but it's almost unheard of. Like that. I know that Aaron Pico's kid, the Bellator had. They've had him since he was like a kid, and they signed him. And I know he's making some decent coin, but I mean, how long have they had him since he was like fucking 15 or 16?
Right.
He's 21 now.
What are the odds?
So okay, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, what are the chances of that? That's not going to be me. So to crack at $100,000 that's the opportunity that I would, obviously go in and fight some other people.
Well, you bring a unique set of skills to the tournament. I mean, first of all, the fact that you've actually hit another human being real time, bare knuckles. I don't want to bring up your street experience, but that's going to come into play.
Undefeated.
But you know what I mean.